Hello. I use the Medtronic MiniMed 780G insulin pump, and I have done several videos here on YouTube about the pump and also the CGM sensor that I use with the pump, which I use the Guardian 4 sensor. And I've been getting people asking me, when are you going to switch to the new sensor, Linnea? How come you are still using the old Guardian 4 sensor? You know, there's a brand new Instinct sensor available by Abbott. Aren't you going to switch to it? So the big news is recently Medtronic came out with other CGM choices. They have the Instinct sensor by Abbott and also the Simplera Sync sensor as well. And both of these sensors are thinner and smaller compared to the Guardian 4 sensor. And I really do think it's great that there are new choices available. However, I am not switching from the Guardian 4, just not right now anyway. And let me tell you why. I'm in a support group online with other people that use the insulin pump. And since they came out with the Instinct sensor, the majority of the messages that are being posted to the support group are about problems with the Instinct CGM. Now, that's not to say that everybody is having problems, but there are enough people posting issues that I find it concerning. So I do not want to try something that could potentially not work. However, I thought, well, maybe I'm being overly cautious. Maybe I should look into this a little bit more. So here's what I found out. I found out that, first of all, you can't calibrate the Instinct sensor. So with the Guardian 4 sensor, I can calibrate it any time. And if it is not close to my blood sugar, if I calibrate it, then it usually becomes accurate. But with the Instinct sensor, it is calibrated in the factory. So you as a user cannot calibrate it. So if for some reason the sensor is inaccurate, all you can do is wait and hope that it gets better. I thought, well, maybe the technology's gotten good enough that we do not need to calibrate it. But from what I'm seeing about the people posting, there are many images of people posting things where they show that their sensor says one thing and their blood glucose reading says something completely different. For example, their sensor might say that they're low, under 70, but when they check their blood sugar, they're 180. Now that is completely useless, right? So then I looked at the manual, and this was surprising because the manual basically says that it can be so inaccurate during the first 12 hours that you should not rely on the sensor value for determining how much insulin to give yourself. I'm going to read directly from the manual here. This is the manual for the Instinct sensor. Warnings, it has warnings. Use your blood glucose meter to make treatment decisions when your sensor reading doesn't match how you feel or has no number during the first 12 hours of sensor wear, or if you see a magnifying glass symbol during the first 12 hours of wearing a sensor, if your sensor glucose reading does not match how you feel, or if the reading does not include a number symbol. You cannot use sensor values to make treatment decisions during the first 12 hours. Wow, that means I'm going to be testing my blood sugar a lot more if I switch to the Instinct sensor. And also, it's really kind of puzzling because if I am in the smart guard mode, that does auto corrections. So those auto corrections are happening based on a potentially inaccurate glucose number. I do not understand how that is acceptable. I wondered maybe I just didn't know something about the Guardian 4 sensor, that maybe it has the same disclaimer. So I downloaded the manual for the Guardian 4 sensor and read through it, and it does not say anything about how you cannot use the sensor value to make treatment decisions. So I will link to both manuals in the description here so that you can read them yourselves. But that is one big thing to really understand and know about. Now, the trade-off might be worth it to you. You may have the good fortune that it actually is very accurate. I believe that there are individual differences. And I really do believe people when people say, oh, the Guardian 4 sensor doesn't work for them and they want another choice. I think there's individual differences. For me, the Guardian 4 sensor works very well, surprisingly accurate, especially after I calibrate it. And usually I only have to calibrate actually one time or maybe 2 times, and then it's good for the whole 7 days. The big downside of the Guardian 4 really is that it is a bit bulky and also that it's a two-handed application. And so if you do want to put it on the back of your arm, you probably do need somebody to help you with putting it on the back of your arm, just because you can't do that, because how do you get two hands over there to do that? So there's definitely some limitations and some things that aren't as good with the Guardian 4, but I have never had a problem with the accuracy. Every once in a while, my Guardian 4 sensor will stop working early, but Medtronic has a support page where you can just request a replacement sensor, and it doesn't happen so often that it's a problem for me at all, maybe once every 6 months or so. The other thing to know about the Instinct sensor, which differs from the Guardian sensor, is that the Instinct sensor has a precaution that if you take more than 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, then it may falsely raise the sensor readings. And vitamin C is a common immune boosting vitamin that I do take vitamin C, and I think I do sometimes go over that amount. It helps my immune system if I'm getting a cold or something like that. So that would not work out well with the Instinct sensor, and the Guardian 4 does not have that same problem. The Guardian 4 sensor actually has a problem with acetaminophen, Tylenol. If you take Tylenol, acetaminophen, then that can make it inaccurate. So it's very important to read the manual for whatever CGM you choose and make sure you understand, are there any medications that make it inaccurate? Also, what are the operating conditions, like what temperature does it work in? Can you wear it underwater? Things like that. I think it said that you can only wear it underwater for 30 minutes on the Instinct sensor. And so that is also another limitation to know about. As good as diabetes tech is, there's still a long way to go. So MiniMed has been really advertising the Instinct sensor, and I hope that these issues get worked out and that people have a really good success with it. Maybe it's just a small issue that will get fixed. We shall see. MiniMed even sent me an email saying, oh, if you switch to the Instinct sensor, we'll give you an extra one, a free one. But I'm sticking with the Guardian 4 sensor. Have you tried the Instinct sensor? Did it work out for you? I'm really curious if you tried that sensor or the Simplera Sync sensor or the Guardian 4. And what are your thoughts, or what's your experience here? Has it been really reliable for you, accurate or not? Of course, as somebody with type 1 diabetes, what we really want is really accurate technology that works reliably. And that is something that they are still working on, apparently. If this was helpful, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, a like, subscribe for more diabetes information, and check out my website, insulinpumplife.com. Thank you.